Hi, we're back and we're talking with Chad DeSatnik, a lifeguard, a former lifeguard from Cape May who broke his neck in a surfing accident. I know I could do it. And Kerry O'Connor, who's from Magee Rehabilitation. And we're talking about Chad's campaign. He injured himself severely, but has managed to come back and now is trying to help others. Talk about this. Let's fast forward from that accident to 2010 now. You've personally spearheaded this campaign in Cape May. What is it that you're trying to do and how are you getting the message out?
Sure. Basically, we created a awareness campaign. There's been an increase in the back and neck injuries down in Cape May. We have gone to local schools to educate the kids about back and neck injuries, ways to prevent these injuries. We also created a beach safety brochure, which is given out to beach patrons so that when people do go to the beach, they're aware of the current conditions, the steep drop-off that has occurred in Cape May, the flag system that the Beach Patrol has created to let bathers know if it's a dangerous day or if it's just a yellow flag, which is just a very cautious day. We're just doing our best to get that awareness campaign going. You
want people to take this seriously. The flags tell you something?
Absolutely. The flag system that Cape May Beach Patrol initiated a few years back. When people go onto the beach, they'll see either a green flag, which I've yet to see fly because it's never a green or go day. They have a yellow flag, which is a caution flag. A red flag is usually up when the waves are churned up from either a tropical storm or a hurricane. When people go on the beach, they get a chance to see the current conditions. They can go up to the lifeguards and talk to them about current conditions.
Who's paying for this? You've got 250,000 brochures that are printed. You're going into schools. Who's paying for this?
I volunteer a lot of my time, and from what I understand, there was a grant that was given to the city to actually produce the brochures.
All right, Kerry, let me ask you, in terms of Magee, what percentage, or is there a large percentage of the injuries that you deal with that are a result of swimming or surfing?
Sure. Well, I'm not going to get into specific numbers with you, but I can tell you that every summer Magee does see a lot of patients who are sent to us with spinal cord injuries that are the result of lots of summer activities, and sometimes that's diving into a pool, sometimes it's outdoor activities besides the beach. But we do see a lot of injuries that come from people that are boogie boarding, body surfing. Sometimes there are folks that are just wading in the water and a wave happens to just catch him off guard, and it's kind of what happened to Chad. It's throwing them into sandbars, and causing these types of issues. So because of that, because we see those types of injuries, we're really behind Chad and his work to try to limit those injuries down the beach. And what Chad does as far as going to the schools, getting the community involved and reacting to these in a positive way, making steps happen that will stop these things, is very much tied into one of the programs at Magee, which is our Think First program, where we send folks who have suffered spinal cord injuries and other injuries through sometimes risky behavior or behavior that could be prevented to schools to talk firsthand about the things that they could have done differently in their lives or the decisions they could have made that could have kept them from having that injury. Such as Chad. It's that he was surfing. He thought maybe he was a little too close. Perhaps it caught him off guard. And the system that is in place now with the flags, with the idea that we can be warned of these situations exist, is something that we're very much behind.
Talk about what kind of a difference do you think it makes to have someone who perhaps is in a wheelchair, who was at the beach, who injured themselves that way, talking to kids, as opposed to, someone who is mobile, up, walking around?
Sure. Well, I mean, it makes it very relatable for them. I could sit here and talk about the consequences that somebody could face, if an accident happens to them, and they may not get it. But when you're looking someone in the eye, when they're talking from their wheelchair or using a walker about what happened to them and the ways that it could have been prevented, it's very powerful, and I think it really gets the point across to them. And hopefully, in Chad's work, it's getting the point across to the communities down the shore to make these changes before these people suffer these injuries before they end up as patients at Magee. That's ultimately what I think we really want.
And Chad, it's your belief that most of the injuries they're happening to tourists or to vacationers, and it's unusual. You're a local and you were injured in this way.
That's right. A lot of the injuries that are occurring are to people who aren't familiar with the beach. I think a lot of surfers are familiar with the beach, the contour of the ocean, bottom. I believe that there were about 32 injuries last year, and only one person was a local from Cape May. So a lot of the people who are getting injured are not residents.
Because they simply don't know the terrain?
I think there's a combination of factors, but I think that's the number one factor, is that they go into the ocean. Sometimes people will let their guard down, which I did for that 10 seconds back in 2001. And when people are on vacation, they let their guard down, and injuries will happen.
Now, you think that the contour of the beach had something to do with your accident or some of these other accidents?
I do. I think there's a direct correlation between the steep drop-off and the back and neck injuries. One of the misconceptions is that surfing is a dangerous sport, and that is who is getting injured. A lot of the injuries happen to people who are either bathing or boogie boarding, so the surfers really aren't getting hurt. They're generally a little bit more knowledgeable.
And I want to talk a little bit more about the program you mentioned, that where you go into schools. It's some of the lifeguards, some of the firefighters, I think.
That's correct.
How did that get started, and when do you do it? Do you do it before the summer season? How does it work?
We do. I was approached by the fire chief down in Cape May, who also handles the EMS. They're pretty much the first responders for all the injuries that are occurring in Cape May. When Chief Enderwise saw the increased number of back and neck injuries, he approached me. He knew that I'd suffered a spinal cord injury. I was local. I was involved with the Life Rolls On. And we go to local schools in the spring, right before the summer starts, and just get the kids aware of potential risk, not to scare them, but to get them aware of what can happen. Lifeguards are their friends, and that's kind of one of the things that we promote, is that go up to talk to lifeguards on a daily basis and get the current conditions. So it's been very beneficial.
Kerry, do you find with these kind of programs where you go out in the schools that kids are receptive to this, or they don't want to hear it? They don't want to be told how to play at the beach in the summer?
Sure. Well, you always get a mixture of both. But Joe Davis, who is our Think First coordinator at Magee, receives letter upon letter from students, not from the teachers, but from students that he's spoken to, saying that after meeting him, after hearing his story, that they're going to make better decisions. They're going to try to be safer. And you hope, in a case they were talking about activities down the shore, that would transfer into talking with lifeguards, finding out the conditions are. When handed that brochure, actually looking at it, studying it, and paying attention to the warnings that are in there.
Okay. We need to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Life Rolls On and some of the other programs that you guys are involved in. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.